Walks into a Spotsylvania LongHorn Steakhouse 5 years ago, and her life was altered forever. It sounds like something out of a movie, but Rachel Myrick was bitten by a poisonous snake as she entered that restaurant soon afterward. Rachel says she was diagnosed with a debilitating disease. On Your Side investigator Kelly Avellino digging into why she's now suing the chain for $25 million, claiming the bite and her crippling pain could have been prevented.
A critical part of this lawsuit centers around whether or not the LongHorn Steakhouse knew that this retention pond behind me allegedly caused a snake problem inside the restaurant close by. You're looking at a woman who spent a lifetime cheerleading, coaching her daughter's team for a decade, and not hesitating to join Germanna Community College's squad as a 30-something mother of two. But today,
so here and then there,
you can see the surgery. There's one of her scars right there.
Even the touch of our clip-on microphone is too sensitive for 40-year-old Rachel Myrick.
I have more than 75% of my body that is in so much pain that it's almost impossible to describe. You feel like you're burning from deep inside your bones.
In September of 2017, Rachel and her family walked through the doors of the LongHorn Steakhouse, right up the hill from this reedy retention pond. Within moments, the fast-paced mom on the go would never have the same momentum again.
I felt like I had been stung on my foot, whether it was like a wasp, a bee.
But it wasn't a bee. It was an 8-inch copperhead that slithered into the restaurant, biting Rachel's left foot 3 times.
I had put my hand around my foot because at this point it was an absolute unbearable pain. That was pretty much the moment that everything changed.
Years after the incident, the woman who hiked mountains, ran marathons, and landed real estate deals in the car could barely now maneuver her way out of it without crushing discomfort.
Please tell her not to go. Please.
Come on.
Please.
Let's go inside.
I don't want.
Right after the snake bite, Rachel was rushed to the hospital and given 4 vials of anti-venom, her foot and entire leg swelling into this.
It was massive.
But the aching and constant discoloration only persisted.
By the time that I hit 2 months, my pain had more than doubled.
She was diagnosed with complex regional pain syndrome. It's an uncommon and severely disabling disorder that can happen after an injury to a limb. Your nerve function becomes abnormal, causing a drastic oversensitivity to pain, according to the Cleveland Clinic.
Ow. Ow.
Basically, your nervous system can't shut off the pain signal.
Ow.
When was the last time you hugged your son or your daughter?
I can hug them. They can't hug me. And I'm in the worst pain you can possibly imagine.
Rachel has seen dozens of doctors and tried just as many treatments, including heavy-duty pain pills like morphine. She also had 2 spinal cord stimulators implanted in her back. As for the medical bills,
we're over $1.1 million at this point.
Rachel tells me she initially wasn't going to sue until the story of her snake bite went viral.
Things started coming out on social media that this isn't the first snake that they've seen there.
She filed suit against the parent company of LongHorn Steakhouse, Rare Hospitality International, and the restaurant manager at the time. The lawsuit claims that snakes were spotted inside the restaurant in 3 places: storage areas for produce and the high chairs, and in a loading area. Court documents also say the restaurant didn't take up the exterminator on a one-shot pest elimination service, and that Virginia's food regulation laws require pests to be controlled or minimized.
If the treatment was done when you saw them, even though no one was injured, then I very likely wouldn't be in the position I'm in today. My family wouldn't be in the position they're in, and all of our lives would be different.
Rachel's 17-year-old son, Dylan, now works 2 jobs while finishing up his senior year in high school. His mother can no longer work, let alone walk without help. Rachel's fiance spends the majority of his time taking care of her.
It's very painful watching her always struggle, and I mean, she was always a tough one, telling us like, hey, everything be okay, and now we gotta watch over her when she's sitting there crying like half the days and can't move the other half the days.
In court filings, attorneys for the LongHorn Steakhouse argue that you can't be held liable for a wild animal attack in Virginia. A judge or jury may ultimately have to decide if there's a difference between a wild animal and what would be considered a pest, like a bee, a rat, or even a snake. LongHorn attorneys also point to a lack of detail about the alleged snake sightings. And they say even if snakes were lurking near the restaurant, it would be illegal to destroy a nest since snakes are not technically nuisance animals. We reached out to LongHorn for an interview or a statement, which their attorney declined.
You knew there was a problem. You knew there was a problem. You knew there was a problem. And if you don't do anything about it, eventually there's going to be a consequence. Unfortunately, I'm the consequence.
Now, under state civil law, this case could get tossed out at its next hearing this coming Monday if the judge decides there's not enough of a legal cause for it to move forward. I'll certainly keep you updated. For the On Your Side investigators, I'm Kelly Avellino.
Wow. All right.